Man, I don't know about you, but I am ready for a word from the Lord today. I think God has something special in store for you. And so we are starting a brand new series today called Playbook. And we are looking, kind of the theme and the idea behind Playbook is this. We're looking to see if you and I can design a playbook in our life that is going to help us live a successful life. Because I think some of us, when you begin to look back at your life, for some of us, we've never changed the plays in our playbook of life in a long time. Because think about it, there's some of you that have some habits in your life right now that you've just been doing just because you do them. Well, my mom did it. Well, my dad did it. Why do you do it? I don't know. They just did it, so now I do it. And you've been doing, and you've got some habits in your life and some things in your life that you've been doing that now you're wondering, why have I been spending so much time? Why have I been doing things like that forever? And maybe some of you need to rewrite your playbook. And maybe some of you need to just write a playbook for your life and just get some ideas in your life of just, hey, what do I need to do? How in the world can I live? And how in the world can I run some plays that honor God and that push me forward to have the most successful life that I can possibly have? To have the life that honors God. To have the life that God desires for me to live. We're going to be looking at some of those things today. And one of those things today is a play that we need to pull out of the playbook that we've been running. And I think all of us run this play. And it's the play of complaining. It's that play where you hand the ball off and no matter what you're doing, no matter what you see, you just kind of live a negative life. And it doesn't matter how good things are. It doesn't matter how good things have been. You just kind of see everything through a negative light. Have you ever met a person like that just, no matter what it is, no matter what they've done, no matter how good life is, the sun can be out, it can be beautiful, a perfect day. And they walk outside and they're just like, man, I bet a storm's coming. But it's beautiful. Yeah, it's probably fixing to snow. It's Oklahoma. It's the weather here. It's like, thanks for sucking the life out of me, man. Appreciate it. But you've just got those people that no matter what it is, they just see everything negative. Well, in Exodus, we see a story that's just like this. Exodus chapter 14, verses 11 and 12, and it says this, and they said to Moses, why did you bring us out here to die in the wilderness? Weren't there good enough graves in Egypt? What have you done to us? Why did you make us leave Egypt? Didn't we tell you this would happen to us while we were still in Egypt? And we said, leave us alone. Let us be slaves. It's better to be a slave in Egypt than a corpse in the wilderness. See, there's some people that just no matter what, they see everything through a negative lens. And they complain about everything. The children of Israel had been in captivity for 400 years. They had been slaves. They had been beaten. They had had their rations of food taken away from them. They had been starved. What they needed in order to build, what Pharaoh wanted them to build was being taken away from them. They were beaten and killed every single day. And finally, God looks down and he says he heard the cry of his children. And he sent Moses in order to bring those people out of captivity. Moses finally went and stood before Pharaoh. And 10 plagues later, the children of Israel were walking out of slavery free, right out of the front door. As Pharaoh stood there and watched millions of people walk away from slavery and into their freedom. Out of a place where they were told what to do into a place of freedom to be able to live and do what God had called them and created them to do. No longer there's a thumb on them, giving them direction, giving them punishment every single day. But finally the opportunity to live the life that God had called them to. And God delivered them out of Egypt. And when God delivered them, man, He did such incredible things that not only did He just deliver them, but He provided food for them every single day that fell from heaven. Not only did Daddy led them every single day with a cloud and a pillar of fire. Not only that, their clothes never went bad. Not only that, they left, but when they left Egypt, they didn't leave because they were fighting. They didn't leave because all of a sudden Pharaoh wanted to start a war and they won the war. They left because of God's hand and God's direction and provision on their life. But now they get to the wilderness, and when they get out in the wilderness, all of a sudden Pharaoh decides, I shouldn't have let them go. How am I going to finish building all this stuff that I want to build? And so he sends his army after them. And when he sends his army after them, there's a sea right in front of the children of Israel. And they look at their problem, and their problem begins to stir up inside of them this fear. And this fear turns into negativity and complaining. And they look at Moses and they say, why in the world would you bring us out here? I would rather be a slave in there than die out here. And God ends up parting the sea. They end up walking across on dry ground. And as the army chases them, as soon as they get across on the other side, God lets the waters go and it falls on the enemy and absolutely wipes out the army that was chasing them. But some people, no matter what the situation, can find something to complain about. Like my children, for example. Perfect segue. My children. This past summer, we decided to take a trip. And we went to Hawaii as a family. And we went with Heather's family. And when we went to Hawaii, it is absolutely beautiful. The beaches there are perfect. The water is crystal clear. And so when we would get up in the morning and we would walk out on the patio, you could just see and hear the ocean crashing in on the shores. And you would just watch as boats are going out to go fishing and take people on tours and different things like that. And it's just gorgeous. And it seems like everything slows down over there. And life just isn't as hectic and crazy. All you do is you get up to go to the beach and you get up to go swim and you get up to eat. Like, that's it. There's not a lot to, like, it's just nice. And we're just having a blast. And not only that, we got this cabana that Heather's parents ended up paying for so that we wouldn't have to fight for lounge chairs around the pool. So they got us a cabana, so we didn't even have to fight. We just walked down whenever we want, and there it was, and the waiters and waitresses would come out and just, you need anything, and just take care of us. Well, inevitably, my kids, as we are playing in the ocean, throwing the football, diving through the waves, going over to the pool and going through the lazy river and everything like that, my kids inevitably, Dad, it's hot. Can we go back to the room, please? It's just hot. I just need air conditioning. Let's go watch some TV. I'm like, this is Hawaii. Like, we're not supposed to sleep inside. We're supposed to sleep on the beach in Hawaii. You are not allowed inside. What are you complaining about? Like, I would have killed as a kid to come over to Hawaii. You're here now, and you're complaining? Are you kidding me? You are so spoiled. What is wrong with you? I'm like, Heather, why you're raising these kids so terribly? Done my part, do yours. And they just kept complaining. And we would be sitting there, and all of a sudden the waitress would come by, and she had a radar or something, or a hidden microphone or something somewhere. Because every time my kids said, Dad, I'm hungry, or Dad, I'm thirsty, she'd pop up about 60 seconds later. And my kid, Dad, can we please get a smoothie? I'm so thirsty. I'm dying of thirst. Please, I just need a drink. I can't make it. I'm like, there's a water fountain over there, and it's free. You're not getting a $15 smoothie. Not a chance. I don't love you that much. It's the bottom line. And so, but they would just complain, Dad, please, can we just order? We would go out to eat. Dad, can we please get an adult meal? I don't need to order off the kids' menu. I want an adult meal. And I'm like, no, you're getting a kid's. What is your problem? And they would find anything, anywhere we went. We would go out on the town and hang out. Just, Dad, I'm so tired. Can we go back and go swim? I was like, you were complaining about swimming earlier. You want to go swim now? Like, what is wrong with you? But there's just some people that no matter what it is, they're going to find a reason to complain. They're going to find something that when you get around them, all of a sudden they see the negativity in the situation. And that's what I want us to look at today. And here's the thing, when I think about it, I don't want us to just sit here and beat ourselves up. Because I don't want you, leaving today like, gosh, I'm such a complainer. This is terrible. Great message today. I complain. I'm a terrible person. But what if we can leave and change our perspective? What if we can walk out today and we can all acknowledge that we're all complainers? We all have those issues. Like, we all have those times where no matter what it is, we can find a good situation and we can make it bad pretty quick because of the complaining that we do. And so for us today, my goal for you today is not for us to just say and acknowledge, my name is Johnny and I'm a complainer. And I've been complaining for 30 years of my life. Really more than that, 37 today. And so that's not my goal. My goal is for us to be encouraged. That we might be looking at the situation wrong. That maybe we're looking at the situation selfishly. And if we can change our perspective and our view, and if we can change the way that we look at things, then maybe, just maybe, we won't walk in that negativity and complaining heart anymore. And so here's the thing that I want us to look at. Philippians 2:14 and 15 says this, do everything without grumbling and complaining, so that you may become blameless and pure, children of God without fault in a warped and crooked generation. That you may become blameless. And so Paul right here, Paul is actually writing this from prison. He's writing this from a jail cell. And he's struggling because he's in prison and every day he's chained to a guard. And he's chained to this guard and he has the opportunity to complain and to tell how terrible his story actually is. And he has the opportunity every single day to say, none of y'all are in my position. I'm in jail and I've got a card tied to me every single day. I'm in jail and none of y'all are in jail. You're out free. You don't have your food brought to you. Your food's not terrible. Your food tastes good. You're not in a dark, moldy prison. But Paul decided he was going to look at it differently. And as I started just praying and thinking about this, I got prepared Tuesday, and I'm normally not that prepared. Like, I'm normally not ready by Tuesday to preach my message. And I got done with it Tuesday, and I was super excited because I was like, man, I really feel like this is something, like it's for me too. And so I just decided, like when I was preparing, I was like, God, for this week, I'm not complaining. Like, I don't want to complain. Help me not to speak and not to complain. Like, I want to be positive in everything that we do. I want to see things differently, and I don't just want to live a life that complains, because it can get really easy to complain, and then once you get on that train, it can spiral out of control pretty quick, and then you begin to complain about everything. And so I was like, God, I don't want to do that. And so, God, I'm going to be positive. Got up Wednesday, great day. Came in here. I normally don't get to come in here on Wednesdays for band rehearsal, but I got to come in here, and the atmosphere, just that whole time, it was rehearsal, but there was just a presence and a spirit of God in the room. And so it just made me even more excited to get here, more excited to preach the message. And I was just like, this is awesome. Like, I can't wait. And this is really exciting. Get up Thursday morning at about 6:30 in the morning. My two girls are hollering at me, Dad, Dad. I'm like, what? They're like, the downstairs is flooded. I'm like, well, like when you say flooded, what do you mean? It's a scary word. They're like, come downstairs now. There's water everywhere. Like, oh my gosh. We have a 2-story house. And so in that 2-story house, we have a walkout basement. And that walkout basement was covered in water. And I was sick. Because as I was sick, I was just like, this is not good. I go down there and there's about 2 inches of water everywhere. So I start getting on the phone. I start calling people. And I'm just like, listen, I don't even know what to do. I don't have a clue what to do. And so we called a restoration company and had them come out, called a plumber, called our insurance agent. All of them are at my house. They're walking through water, and I'm looking, and we cannot find the source of this leak anywhere. Anywhere. And so I'm super frustrated. And as I'm walking around, I remember, I feel the Holy Spirit just say, hey, Johnny, what are you preaching on Sunday? I said, well, it just changed. Promise you. Because it's not like I'm complaining, and I have a right to. And I was like, Dad gummit, are you kidding me? And he's like, hey, how are you going to respond? Can you practice what you preach? And I was like, no. It's not my job. My calling is not to practice what I preach. It's just to preach. I looked at the contract, and so I pulled it up. I was like, they did not tell me that when I was hired. It is just to preach. So I was like, I'm good. But I was like, Dad, are you kidding me? Like, there's not a couple, like, I can get really mad in traffic. Cause traffic to back up, God. Cause an idiot to drive by me, and I'll handle it right. Like, I won't, be negative. And I won't, just complain about their driving, even though they're terrible. They don't know what they're doing. Like, it's never my fault on the road. It's always theirs. They're always horrible. Like, give me that. Not flood my entire basement. Not flood my house. And so we call this restoration company. The guy comes over. They're super nice, super great. They're just like, listen, if it's a category 1, category 2, I was like, whoa. It's like it's not a hurricane. Like, it's just like I had a little water. And he's like, well, if it gets to a category 3, everything's got to go. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, category 3 means sewage. And I was like, well, it's not sewage. It's clear. It doesn't smell. Like, we're good. I've been walking through it barefoot. Like, we're good. My son got really excited when he ran down because Jackson, my 6-year-old, he's like, an indoor swimming pool, yeah! And so, see, like, your negativity is all about perspective. Like, I was looking at it like a flooded house. He's looking at it, and he's going, swimming, yes! And so I'm standing there, and this guy's just like, if it's a category 3, everything's got to go. The problem is, 2 months ago, we just got brand new carpet and brand new floors, wood floors put in the house. So I'm like, dadgummit. Sure enough, like right after he tells me that, the plumber goes, hey, it's sewage backup. I'm like, gummit. Jackson, quit swimming in it. Get out. Like, don't drink the water. And I was just like, are you kidding me? The wood floors, you could see, are already kind of warped. The doors already like an inch, only like that much, but you can see they're warped. And I was just like, oh, this is fantastic. Right when he tells me that, like, he's like, everything's got to go. And I'm like, well, hold on, everything? Like, can we not save some stuff? He's like, you really can't. He goes, do you want your kids rolling around in, sewage? I was like, I don't mind that much. What's it going to cost? I think that's really the bigger question here. Like, can they play in sewage, or what's the cost to not let them? And so we were just talking, and right when that happens, my insurance agent walks in. They walk downstairs, and they go, hey, and they have cut, now you can see on the pictures, they have cut the bottom and taken the sheetrock away. Show them those pictures. They had cut the carpet away that was brand new, cut all the sheetrock away. And my insurance agent walks downstairs and goes, hey, before you do anything, I'm like, I don't know what that means. Yeah, not everybody's covered for sewage backup. Thank you, Jesus. I'm not complaining. And she goes, luckily we put it on your policy. She goes, but there still is an issue. It only covers very, very little. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, well, yeah, it's not going to cover very much. And I'm like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? And I just said, okay. Nothing I can do about it now. Like, it is what it is. And one of the owners from the company just came over and they said, listen, how are you still smiling and joking around and laughing when we're ripping up your carpet, cutting out your sheetrock, and your insurance agent is telling you that it's not going to cover it? And I was like, honestly, I don't want to. I want to complain, and I want to yell at some people. I said, but I told God that I wasn't going to complain this week. I said, so I'm going to find the joy in this situation no matter what. And I said, listen, all this can be replaced. Everything. I said, it's not. I said, it's not what I want. I said, this is new carpet. I said, my dog hadn't even urinated on it yet. It's still brand new. But here's the thing. I go, it can be replaced. Might take some time. Might put me out. Might not be the best thing. I said, but I'm going to find out what God's doing in this situation before I complain. And I'm going to see where He's at. Because I think here's what we do a lot of times. See, complaining is getting a selfish heart. Complaining takes place when you and I feel like we deserve a different circumstance and a different situation. I'm complaining because I shouldn't be here. I'm complaining because I shouldn't be going through this. I'm complaining because I deserve better. I'm complaining because I. And it's these selfish motives that drive us. And we spend our time complaining because we think we deserve better. Because we think we're something special. And so I want us to look at today, as we walk through this idea of complaining, I want us to look at two things. First thing is this: what can we do? And then the second thing is, what is God doing? And so the first thing is, what do you and I do in these situations? What do you and I do as we are walking through life and we open up the playbook, and in our playbook we find complaining? Because it's become so natural to us. Because it's what we hear. Because it's what people go through. And so the first thing is, what can you and I do? Ephesians 2:17 and 18 says this: but even if I am being poured out as a drink offering on the sacrifice and service coming from your faith, I am glad and I rejoice with all of you. So you should be glad and rejoice with me. How in the world can Paul be in prison for 2 years and write those words? Hey, it's all right. Hey, don't feel sorry for me. It's all right. Don't feel bad for me, what I'm going through. Because I want you to understand something. Every day, they bring a new guard in and they chain him to me. And every day, I get a new audience to preach to. And every day, I get somebody new that I get to share the gospel with. And every day, they're bringing in new inmates. And those inmates are coming in and they're being put in the cells around me. And as they are put in these cells around me, as they are put in the same cell with me, I get to share the gospel with them, because guess what? They can't get out. And they don't have any option but to listen to me. And so I've got a captive audience right in front of me every single day that I get to preach to. And so maybe today what you and I need to start doing is we need to change our perspective. We need to change our perspective of the situation that we're walking through. Because maybe it's this. Maybe God wants to use those moments in order to bring somebody else to Jesus. And so as I was standing there in this sewage in my basement, I said, God, I don't care who walks through my doors. Someone's getting saved. If it takes my basement to get flooded for somebody to get saved, somebody's getting saved. I'm telling everybody about Jesus. Because this is not happening for no reason. This is not happening to try and make me angry. This is not happening to try and put me out. The devil's not going to use this and rob an opportunity that I have for all these people who normally would not be in my house, would not be around me. Now all of a sudden they're around me and they don't have anywhere to go because they got to pull up the carpet. They got to cut the sheetrock out. They got to take the wood floors out. They got to do all that stuff. And so if they're doing that, I'm telling them about Jesus because they don't have an option. And so the whole time with about 12, 15 people in and out of my house all day long, Guess who heard about Jesus? Guess what they found out? See, maybe we need to start looking for a different perspective. We need to start looking for a different view. That maybe we're seeing things through selfish eyes instead of God's eyes. Maybe we're looking at our situations and we're saying, I don't deserve that. This is ridiculous. I see the world half full. When really God is saying you need to see the world half empty. And God's saying you need to see it half full. Because here's the thing. There's opportunities in front of you all the time. And you're taking those opportunities and you are robbing them from people. Because before you ever walked in, you had made your mind up that you were not going to be happy. Psychologists call it confirmation bias. To where before you ever walk into a situation, before you're ever faced with the moment, you have already determined that you are not going to like it. And if you have determined that you are not going to like it, then the percentage is very, very high that when you walk out, you will not have liked it. I'm going through this right now with Heather. I want to go see The Lion King. She does not. I want to take the kids and I want to go see The Lion King, but she has read reviews, and on the reviews, it has said people walk out and they don't like it because they have done such an incredible job with that CGI that the lions and all the animals look real. And they look so real that it is confusing to people because you know, as you are watching the movie, animals are not supposed to talk. But I am seeing a lion. I'm seeing a pig. I'm seeing all these different animals talk, and it just it freaks me out. And I don't like it. It needs to be an animated movie, not like this. And so I've been trying to get Heather to go, but she has made up her mind that she will not like it. It's called confirmation bias. See, some of you are walking through life just like that. You're walking through life already determined that life is against you, that people are against you, that the world is against you, that everybody hates you, that nobody's for you. You've already made up your mind that you will not be successful, that you will not be able to do it, that you will not be able to get out of the situation that you're in, that you will not be able to accomplish what you have set in your heart to accomplish. And even though you're working towards that goal, you know, and you've already thought in your mind, there's no way I can do it. You see it all the time in sports. And you see this mental block. They call it mental blocks. But it's that confirmation bias of I've already spoken over my life. And now I expect it to happen. And so what ends up happening is you begin to create the scenario and the scene for your life that as you are walking through it, instead of setting yourself up for the good, you all of a sudden set yourself up not to be successful. And so you begin to struggle. And you see everything through a negative light. Maybe we need to start changing our perspective. Maybe we need to start changing our view. See, because here's the thing. If you can't change your circumstance, then change your perspective. If you can't change your circumstance, I can't change the flooding in my house. But I can change the way I respond to it. I have control over that. And the enemy is not going to win. Even though the bad has happened, the enemy is not going to win. Because what he wants to do is he wants to rob me of my joy. He wants to rob me of my peace. He wants to rob me of my happiness. And he wants me to look at the negative. You just spent all this money on new carpet. You spent all this money on new floors. Now the insurance not even going to get, you're going to have to pay for it all again. You're going to be stuck living in, and I hate when things are not in order and put together. And now we're going to be stuck for weeks living like that. But here's the thing. I've got the choice of how I respond. I've got the choice. And so the second thing is this. It's what I can do, and then it's what is God going to do. And so Philippians 1, 12 through 13 says this. Now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. As a result, it has become clear throughout the whole palace garden to everyone else that I am in chains for Christ. Could it be that my flooding And that somebody's going to walk out and they're going to say, I see the purpose behind why your house flooded. It was for me to hear about Jesus. I see why this has happened to you. It was so that I can know the God that you know. See, Paul says, I know, I hear what you're saying. But I want you to know, everybody in here understands and knows why I'm in jail. I'm not in jail because I'm guilty. I'm in jail because they need to hear about Jesus. And this is my next church. And I'm just planting another church in prison. And wherever else I go, I'm planting another church. And right now I'm planting a church in the basement of my house as they do construction because they need to hear about Jesus. Could it be that we just have to see what God's doing in this situation? How God's at work. See, Nehemiah says this, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Don't let the enemy rob you of what God is trying to do. Don't let the enemy steal your joy because you see it. Walk through Walmart and tell me the enemy has not stole the joy of people. You can see it on their face. You don't even have to know them or talk to them. But you know when the enemy has stolen somebody's joy. You know if you ask them a question, no matter what, they see life through negative eyes. They see life that they are beat down, nobody believes in them, nobody loves them. But you have to understand you have a God that loves you. You have a God that's for you. You have a God that no matter the circumstance in the situation, He wants to work through those situations to draw your heart closer to Him and bring salvation to those that are far from Him. And so God's just not silent and absent. But God is working through your struggles and through your pain so that people can see Jesus and know the hope that you have in Him. David says this in Psalms 105, give thanks to the Lord, proclaim His greatness, let the whole world know what He has done. Sing to Him, yes, sing praises to Him, and tell everyone about His wonderful deeds. Even in the pain, even in the struggle, even when you don't want to. Because I promise you, as I stood there and as she was saying those words inside of me, I wanted to say, I don't want to be happy. She is looking at me and she is telling me, nobody is ever happy like you are when everything has been destroyed. And it's going to cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. Nobody's ever happy about that. But here's the thing. It's our responsibility to tell everybody about the greatness of our God, no matter the circumstance and the situation. The circumstance and the situation does not dictate the greatness of our God. God is good, no matter what. So here's what I want you to understand and want you to know. As we leave, as you walk out of the doors, I want you to understand and I want you to know who God is. And so maybe, just maybe, as you walk out of the doors, you will begin to see life a little differently. You will not see life through negative eyes. You will not see life in these negative light, but you will see the joy of the Lord and He will become your strength. That even in the circumstances where you can't, He can. And He becomes the strength that you need in order to get through them. And when you say, God, I can't be positive right now, He's positive for you. And He's the strength that you need in order to be that situation. So here's what I want you to know. That you are created in the image of Christ. That you are here on purpose because you have a purpose. That you are who the Bible says you are. And that you can do what the Bible says you can do. I want you to know that you are forgiven. I want you to know that you are a blood-bought child of God. I want you to know that you are loved. I want you to know that you are on a mission. I want you to know that you are a devil-kicking, hell-rescuing, sin-hating, hope-bringing, message-preaching, worship-bringing son of the Most High God. And I will not let my situations dictate my worship. I will not let my situations dictate my worship. God is worth it. And God is on His throne, no matter what you're walking through today. And there are people in your life who need to see the goodness of God through your eyes. Will you pray with me?